Let's get back to Pittsburgh, where we're now learning there is a sentence that has come down on the 2018 Tree of Life synagogue shooter. Back with us, NBC News correspondent Rahima Ellis. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that this jury has unanimously decided that Robert Bowers is eligible to be considered for the death penalty. And it had to be a unanimous verdict on the part of the 7 women and 5 men who were considering this. This verdict came down after perhaps a little less than 2 hours of them deliberating. They started that deliberation yesterday, continued it this morning, and shortly after they went into the deliberation room, they came back with a verdict. And again, it's this jury unanimously saying that Robert Bowers is eligible to be considered for the death penalty. What happens now is they are trying to decide in the courtroom whether or not both sides will begin their argument to the jurors about whether he should or should not get the death penalty. Will that begin tomorrow, or will it start next week? And that's a discussion that's going on. So what's happened again, Anna, is that this jury completely rejected the defense argument that Robert Bowers was mentally incapable of making this decision, that he could not have done this intentionally because he didn't have the capability of doing it. And instead, these jurors accepted the argument from the prosecution that this man, Robert Bowers, intentionally made an effort to murder 11 people, 11 worshipers at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh about 4.5 years ago. And with that, they have said unanimously he is eligible to be considered for the death penalty. And this jury will now have to take up that task after they begin to hear arguments from both sides as to what should happen to this man, whether he will get life in prison or the death penalty.
So there's multiple phases, obviously, to this trial. First, there was, is he guilty of committing this crime? We know that his lawyers never argued otherwise. They really focused their defense arguments on trying to avoid the death penalty. So now the jury comes back, says he's eligible for the death penalty. They will ultimately make the call, or is it a judge that hands down the sentence?
The jurors will make that call. If they had come back and said we cannot decide, or if they were split in terms of that decision, then it would have been to the judge, and he would have given him life in prison. But this jury didn't do that. This jury decided that they accepted the argument from the prosecution, that argument saying that this man knew what he was doing, he intended to do what he did, and he carried that out, intentionally targeting a group of worshipers at the Tree of Life Synagogue back in October of 2018. So that's where we stand now. That verdict on eligibility has come in, and now this jury has to define and decide whether or not he will get the death penalty or be sentenced to life in prison.